This is my refugee issue transformation story. It was in May 2016 when my neighborhood was invited to come to a presentation about the refugee home that was supposed to open right about 500 meters from the place where I live. I had attended before to such meetings as I work in Zebra in a counseling center with local authorities about the issue and volunteers who work with the refugees, so I've been to such events before. And this time it was myself as a concerned neighbor to visit such a happening. Local politicians were there, policemen were on the plenary, migration experts from the government, the Caritas representatives who Caritas was hosting the refugee home like they do with many homes in Austria. So their task was to inform the population, the local population, about what is going to happen and respond to questions. And usually such a plenary and such a happening was very often used by right-wing politicians and groups to make movement against refugees. And it also happened very often that concerned people, scared people, hostile people to the refugees were very loud, and these events even turned hateful. So when I was there, I knew if the hate is going to start with their shouting against refugees, the whole thing is going to drop. So when the presentations were finished and the stage was open for questions of the public, I saw hands raising up, and I saw of the right extremist party one hand going up, and of another neo-fascist group hands going up, and I thought, I don't want to let them talk. I want to pose a question, and I knew that security is an issue, especially for parents, as there are those stories of refugee men going for the kids. So I myself have 2 children too. I have a small daughter. So I raised the hand and said, I'm a neighbor, I'm a father, I have a daughter. I'm really concerned about security and safety from everyone. And I asked myself, what can I do to feel safe with the refugees right next to my door? And then my answer was, maybe I should get to know them, and maybe they should know me. So maybe I can establish trust, so I know who these people are, and I know how they really are. If they are not good, I can say, okay, I have to take care. But if they are nice people, maybe it's an enrichment for me and my surrounding. So I said, I have a question to the whole crowd. There were about 100 people. I do not want to go alone to the refugee place. I would like many people to go there to know the people, because that also makes me feel more secure. And then I said to the audience in the room, please give me a sign. I have a question, not to the plenary, but to you. Are you willing, as a measure for security, are you willing to join me to get to know the people in the refugee place when the refugees are there? And if you want to do that, please stand up. And there was short silence. And suddenly almost all of the people stood up in the room. And for me it was a very emotional moment, because I didn't expect so many people to be willing to go inside the refugee place to get to know the people. And there were some neighbors of which I knew they were critical. They were really critical about the issue, but they also stood up, and I was really wondering. Then a real good discussion started, what we could do. There were some hostile questions too, even an action from the right extremist group. But in the end, people said, I do think the ones we should be scared of are those right-wing extremists, because they were really scaring up the people with their loud shouting and how they looked. They weren't from the area, they came from abroad. So the whole event, also the politicians on the plenary and the Caritas people told me they never had such a good meeting. And maybe the reason was because it started with a constructive way of getting to the issue and making ourselves and the refugees more human with the idea of getting to know each other. So that for me was one very, very intense and very nice moment of transformation in the debate about how to deal with refugees in Europe and in Austria.